An angel was delayed for 21 days. Michael had to come and help him. Why? Stay to the end and you'll discover the shocking battle happening behind Daniel's prayer. By the banks of a great river, an old man kneels alone. For 3 weeks he has eaten nothing but the barest scraps. No meat, no wine, no oil on his skin. His body is weak, but his eyes are fixed on the heavens. Suddenly the air changes. Light, blinding, impossible light. Tears through the sky above him. The men standing with him don't even see it. They simply turn and run, scattering into the trees, leaving him alone with whatever this is. The old man's name is Daniel, and what he's about to witness is proof that every prayer he has ever whispered has been the opening move in a war being fought in a realm he cannot see. To understand why this moment matters, we have to go back, decades back. Daniel was a teenager when Babylon conquered Jerusalem and dragged the brightest young men of Judah into exile. He grew up in a foreign court, serving foreign kings, watching empires rise and fall around him. Babylon falls, Persia rises, and through it all, Daniel remains. Now he's an old man, likely in his 80s, still living in Persia, still serving in its government. By this point, some of his people have already returned to Jerusalem. The first wave went back under King Cyrus's decree, just as the prophet said they would. You'd think Daniel would be celebrating, but something is wrong. Reports have reached him. The rebuilding is struggling. The returned exiles are facing opposition, hardship, maybe even abandoning the work entirely. And Daniel, this man who has survived lions' dens and fiery furnaces and the collapse of empires, does the only thing he knows how to do. He prays. Not a quick prayer, not a 5-minute plea before bed. Daniel commits to 3 full weeks of mourning. He strips his diet down to nothing but the plainest food. No meat, no celebration, no wine, no comfort, no oil. In that culture, oil was for grooming, for looking your best. Daniel stops caring about how he looks. He's not trying to impress anyone. He's broken over what's happening to his people, and he's going to sit in that brokenness until heaven answers. 3 weeks, 21 days of an old man pouring out grief to a God who, as far as he can tell, is silent. And then, on the banks of the Tigris River, heaven finally answers. But not in the way anyone could have expected. Daniel describes what he sees in language that almost breaks down trying to capture it. A man, but not a man. His body shines like polished gemstone. His face burns like lightning. His eyes are like blazing torches. His arms and legs gleam like polished bronze. And when he speaks, his voice sounds like the roar of a massive crowd, all speaking at once. This isn't a gentle, glowing angel with soft wings. This is something that shatters the nervous system just by being seen. The men with Daniel don't even get a vision. They just sense something is deeply wrong, and they bolt. Daniel is left alone, and the strength drains out of his body. He collapses face first into the dirt, falling into something between sleep and unconsciousness. Then a hand touches him, and he's lifted, trembling, onto his hands and knees, barely able to hold himself up as the being begins to speak. And here's where the story takes its most important turn. The being tells Daniel, "Don't be afraid. From the very first day you set your heart to understand and humbled yourself before God, your words were heard. Sit with that for a second. The first day, day 1 of the fast, the moment Daniel started praying. Heaven heard him immediately. So why did it take 21 days for an answer to arrive? The being explains. He was sent the moment Daniel prayed. But something stood in his way. He says, "The prince of the kingdom of Persia opposed me for 21 days. This wasn't a logistics problem. This wasn't heaven being slow. This was a battle. Something some being with enough power to challenge an angel of this magnitude, physically resisted this messenger from reaching Daniel for 3 full weeks. And the only reason the messenger broke through at all is because another being, described as Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help him. Now who, or what, is this Prince of Persia? This isn't referring to the human king sitting on Persia's throne. This is something operating behind the throne. In the worldview of this book, nations and kingdoms aren't just shaped by the visible decisions of kings and armies. There are spiritual forces, princes, assigned to or attached to those nations, influencing events from behind the curtain. So, while on Earth, Persian officials are making decisions about whether Jerusalem gets rebuilt, in the unseen realm, a spiritual power aligned against God's people is fighting to keep a single prayer from being answered. And it's not a small fight. It takes Michael, described elsewhere as a top-tier angelic figure, a defender of Daniel's people, getting involved before this messenger can break through. Think about the scale of that. An old man's prayer, whispered in private, with no one watching, triggers a 3-week supernatural conflict involving some of the most powerful beings described in this entire book. And the messenger isn't done. He tells Daniel he has to go back and continue fighting, first against the Prince of Persia, and after that, a Prince of Greece is coming too. This is the moment the story zooms out. This isn't just about one prayer, or even just about Persia. The messenger is describing a pattern, empire after empire, each with spiritual opposition behind it, each playing a role in a much longer story that's building towards something bigger. For Daniel, sitting there in the dirt, barely able to breathe, he's just been given a glimpse behind the curtain of human history itself. So what do we actually take from this? First, delay isn't the same as denial. Daniel's prayer was heard instantly. The delay wasn't God ignoring him. It was resistance happening on a level Daniel couldn't see, couldn't measure, and had no way of knowing about. Until it was over. How many times have you prayed for something, felt like nothing was happening, and assumed it just wasn't going to happen? This story suggests there might be more going on than meets the eye. Second, there's a connection between what happens in the spiritual realm and what happens in the visible one. The political situation in Persia, the struggles of the people, rebuilding Jerusalem, all of it is tied to this invisible conflict. And third, perseverance matters. Daniel didn't pray for one day and quit. He didn't pray for a week and give up. He stayed in it for 3 weeks, even with zero evidence anything was happening. What happens next for Daniel is even more intense. Visions of future kingdoms, wars, and a prophecy that stretches all the way to the end of days. We'll get into that in the next video. But for now, ask yourself, is there something you've been praying about that's felt delayed, maybe even abandoned after this story? Maybe it's worth holding on to a little longer. If this gave you a new way of looking at prayer, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt like your prayers were delayed? I want to hear your story.